Welcome back to Strawberry Ink. Today's episode is not about a crime, it's about a system. Well, there is a crime case, but this information is very important. It is an informative episode. So, this story starts with shattered glass in an elementary school and ends with a community trying to make sense of what safety really means. This is a story of Joshua Collins and of South Point schools in Ohio. In October 2024, just before Halloween, South Point, Ohio, a quiet town right at the edge of the West Virginia border, found itself at the center of chaos. Joshua Collins, a 43-year-old father, walked into South Point Elementary School with one intention: to pick up his child. But the situation was complicated and already tense. Collins had been divorced twice. His first marriage to Stacy ended in 2008. Years later, he married Alicia, with whom he had a child with. That marriage ended in 2023. The result? A heated custody battle. That day, when Joshua arrived at the school, he discovered that his child had already been picked up by the mother. And that's when everything started to spiral. Witnesses say he grew agitated with staff, shouting in frustration. The confrontation escalated quickly, turning physical. Collins broke the glass of a school door, entered the office, walked down the halls, and into the cafeteria, while staff worked to place the building on lockdown. It was then that the unthinkable happened. Collins stabbed the school's principal, Bill Christian. Christian was rushed to the St. Mary's Hospital in Huntington, West Virginia. He was treated for his injuries and survived, being released days later. Meanwhile, Joshua fled the scene, but his freedom did not last long. He stopped by the St. Mary's Medical Center in Huntington to get treated for the cuts of the glass he shattered. And that's where police found him. He was arrested on the spot. Collins was first detained at the Huntington Police Station, and then he was booked into the Western Regional Jail. Before Magistrate Paul Farrell, he waived extradition back to Ohio. His first appearance was held virtually through Microsoft Teams, while the prosecutor, Jason Spears, and public defender, Luke Steyer, attended in person in order to settle things. At this point, the magistrate ordered that Collins be held in custody without bail. The Ohio prosecutor, Brigham Anderson, presented the case to a grand jury. Initially, Collins faced just a few charges: 2 misdemeanors of menacing, 1 of harassment, and 2 felonies: second-degree felonious assault and first-degree attempted murder. But the grand jury at the Common Pleas Court of Lawrence County did not just confirm those 5 charges, but they indicted him on extras. Now in total, he faced 18. 3 felonies were added, including 10 counts of kidnapping, 1 of inducing panic, 1 of breaking and entering, 1 weapons charge. Collins was transferred to the Lawrence County Jail in Ohio and appeared virtually before Judge Donald Caper, who set his bond to $2 million cash only. He pleaded not guilty and later was assigned a new attorney, private defense lawyer Richard Nash of Portsmouth. The defense motioned to have the charges dropped. 5 of them were dropped: menacing, harassment, and 3 of the kidnapping counts, all dismissed due to insufficient evidence. I agree with that because telecommunications harassment, that is a ridiculous charge. And I could already tell this case is not going the right direction. Telecommunications harassment is a charge requested by pussies, just like Faith Rankin and other people, many others. And it is a charge that the whites voted on and that the whites created. Not any whites, the white devils. As well, why not face a mass kidnapping charge? Why face several kidnapping charges and not just one big one? As you know, if you go against a hospital or any educational institution or any government building, the system will drown you down. They will have no mercy for you. Even if you're white and heterosexual, there is no justice for you, no true justice. And this is what occurred in this story. So, what remained was still devastating. The bench trial of Joshua Collins began in April 2025 at the Lawrence County Court of Common Pleas. Over 2 days, Judge Andrew Ballard heard testimony, reviewed evidence, and ultimately found Collins guilty on 11 counts and not guilty on one. On May 12, 2025, Joshua Collins was sentenced to 45 years in prison with the eligibility of parole after completing 39 and a half. Later that summer, his defense appealed the conviction. This was due to Judge Ballard denying the motion for a retrial and to toss his conviction. Therefore, now it is up to the higher courts to decide his true fate. This matter is currently pending, and as of today, Joshua Collins is incarcerated at the Chillicothe Correctional Institution in Ohio. Also in Chillicothe, there is something more positive. There is the Tecumseh Show, and me and my family went to watch it in the summer of 2024. A great summer to be in Ohio, lots of events due to the big population that was there. And it looks like maybe in 2026 it may be the same, but I got to see lots of the big events in 2024 that I am grateful for that. Thank God for such a good summer. I encourage you guys to take your families there too. They have a nice gift shops during the intermissions where you could buy things at good prices. So, anyways, the stabbing at the South Point Elementary School shocked the community, but it also reopened old wounds. People began asking deeper questions. What kind of environment allows this kind of tension to build? Are schools in this district doing enough to support both families and students? The South Point School District has faced scrutiny for years, not over safety, but culture. And as you know, this is not a free land, especially Ohio and West Virginia. It's not a free land. Look at this man. He deserved about 8 years, and he got over 40 years. Reviews online describe South Point Elementary as average, the middle school with mixed academic results, and the high school as strong academically but socially negative. That says a lot. Earlier in 2025, South Point Middle School became the center of another local controversy. A teacher-student incident led to an audio recording by a student circulating through the community, one that many parents called unprofessional and upsetting. Students these days are sneaking their phones into class. The principal involved was placed on administrative leave, and the school board voted not to reinstate her that year. That is because the video went viral and there is no way to cover that reputation up. So, what do so many parents feel about the public school system across the country? Schools should be safe, consistent, and accountable, not places where students or parents are left unheard, and not places of conflict. In the end, the South Point story is not about Joshua Collins. It's about what happens when systems crack, when communication breaks down between home and school, when mental health, conflict, and bureaucracy collide. The glass door that shattered that October day was not just a literal break in, it symbolized something deeper, the fracture between trust and fear, a patriotic and brave action that was necessary before the community and the institutions meant to protect it. Joshua Collins will likely spend decades behind bars. Principal Bill Christian recovered, but South Point, Ohio is still healing from the violence and the reflection that followed. When people say it could never happen here, South Point stands as a quiet reminder it already did. And these Ohio and West Virginia towns They are rated by white trash. So now, let me go over more stories regarding these schools. South Point Schools contains an absurd and disappointing staff. The students or people from the outside committing crimes inside the buildings are the ones shamed. But why not shame the staff as well? The elementary school has shut down the option to leave them Google reviews, and so have the other schools too within the district. I've just found that out recently. On gradeschools.com, though, the elementary school has a 3 out of 5 rating, the middle school 4 out of 5. And I did not look well into the high school rating. I believe it's similar to the middle school one. But this is a review left about the high school. South Point High School is a school that does well academically, but socially negative. The staff is hard to work with, and the students there are not extremely nice whatsoever. As to the middle school, this was a review. South Point Middle School did worse in math and worse in reading in this metric compared with students across the state. Then, a principal who's been subject to an investigation after a controversial audio recording surfaced is not expected to return to her job for the rest of the school year. That was the board meeting I just discussed. And the board president commented, his name is Josh Parker. He told the crowd, "It seems like 5 minutes of audio has kind of split our community. That is called karma." One parent commented, "What if someone really gets under your skin?" And I've got to say, if you are trying to prevent school shootings with this day's youth, do not piss them off then. Try your best not to. Don't be the bully. Or whatever it is, whether shooting or something else, you'll get what you deserve if it happens to you. So, in the recording, the A3 teacher who was exposed got a new job and is teaching 6th grade in the same school. When these administrators are taken out, or staff members who are placed on administrative leave, they resign and apply for a new job and get that job. That is for unions that are being abused. So now let me drift over to Phoenix Middle School in Ohio. I will get back to South Point by the end of the episode, but I remember a teacher named Robert Estes getting stressed and punching me in the arm. We were not allowed to have phones to film our teachers and post it to damage their reputation, but there were witnesses. Austin Moore, Harold Hacker, Edan Ortiz. There were witnesses seeing this official getting his hands on me, and in these public schools, most times when there are no security cameras and there are no phones to record, a official, which I mean staff member, they could touch you inappropriately and get away with it, and you are intimidated. So you say nothing, and so you don't accuse him. You are silenced. This teacher lives in my neighborhood, making it pretty uncomfortable for me to share his name on the episode, but I am still brave. He may try to be nice to me in the neighborhood, but that's a memory I have of him. Some teachers at this school enjoy talking about sex-related topics in class and smile a bit on their faces while discussing it, as if they were seducing themselves. Handbooks state no unprofessional contact. That includes cursing or harsh language, which is what school staff members in Ohio and in other states do sometimes. Also in Phoenix Middle School in the 2010s worked a teacher named Terry Goldring. She was impatient and expressed that kind of rude attitude, doing her job just for the money. She would not let her students laugh and have fun at lunchtime. She would say they were too loud. She wanted lunch to be a library. She basically acted as if this was a Nazi concentration camp. She assigned seats to everybody at lunch without their friends and threatened to ban talking absolutely from lunchtime if that did not make them quiet. Our food was crappy, but at least we had food. In order to feel like a concentration camp, all we needed is physical labor, more abuse, and to be starved, and to have our heads shaved. That's all we needed to feel like Jews in the Holocaust. So when she assigned seats to the students and they booed her, she expressed herself being upset. She says, "Really, you're gonna do that to me? No." And as well, she told students to lie to their parents in order to get them in trouble at home, threatening them in front of a phone and telling them to lie on the phone in speaker. She would laugh during the conversation, and if the student spoke a foreign language, she would say, "Speak in English," to make sure they were telling the lies, she said, and to make sure she was manipulating them correctly. Then there was one teacher at the school who expressed a tough attitude. He called one of his students, Josh Malink, cancerous. His name was Glenn Allen, and he also discussed sex-related topics during class. So he told Josh Malink, this student who had too much energy, a hard time, that he did not want people to know he was in his class. Josh Malink gave out the signs of autism spectrum and ADHD. He did not deserve to be talked to that way and to be uncomforted by the staff members who are supposed to manage situations and are trained to do so. So, I've mentioned Faith Rankin in other episodes before, the OSU catering department worker. She is a banquet manager. How stupid, as if a banquet really needed a manager. She is useless to society. She thinks she's important, but she's not. And due to her rude attitude, she does not deserve respect. She bullied me and my transgender friend Maddie, all over her sexuality and gender identity. She claimed to have banned Maddie from working OSU jobs. Basically, because she claims that Maddie was on her phone a lot. But Maddie really took important calls. She had to be on her phone. And really, Faith Rankin is just doing that because Maddie is a transgender female. She did not want Maddie using the women's restroom in the Ohio Union building where she works. And Faith Rankin, she constantly uses racial slurs and gay slurs, calls people by the B word. She is very rude. She deserves to be gone. If there is ever a Timothy McVeigh type bombing in the Ohio Union, it would be very sad and hurtful, but I would hope that Faith Rankin becomes a victim, and if she made it out alive, gosh, I'd be pissed. She calls the cops over everything. She's just a stupid white middle-aged woman. I'll keep exposing her, and by the way, there's an episode exposing so many OSU officials of being associated with the KKK and of having KKK ancestors that they admire and follow. So, before getting into the last South Point school story, I'm going to jump back into the Worthington school story. Basically, in Ohio middle schools, the typical middle or elementary school teacher, well, it's getting better for elementary school, but the typical middle school teacher, they express this kind of attitude, talking with a strict tone and straightly. They express this attitude because they want to look cool, but really they're looking toxic. I saw one teacher at a park one time taking her students out to the playground, which in middle school, occasionally, they take you out to public playgrounds, at least in this middle school. And I started asking the teacher questions about her job and everything. She was just answering them with that tone. And really, they talk like Faith Rankin. All of these women, they talk as if they were just leaving the bathroom after having their period. They have that rude tone on their voice for no reason. It does not look cool on them, trust me. And it is okay to ban phone policies because due to safety these days, phones are important. Most middle schoolers already have a smartphone in their possession. So, if there is ever a school shooting or some terrorist event, it is important for the students to as well call the cops, not just the teachers and staff members, because the staff members are a minority and the police will not arrive super quickly these days just because a group of staff members is calling. There has to be so many people, so students have to join in as well. Also, students are given training to go through emergency exits in order to get outside and to go into an open field. However, everybody knows this training by now. So, if shooters work as a group, one of them could be waiting outside in that open field and take them down. Easy targets, right? Therefore, I admire all the middle school kids, maybe elementary school kids. Most high school kids are allowed to have phones anyway. But I admire people sneaking their phones and breaking that rule. Good for you. You may be a superhero or a lifesaver one day. So, I was about to discuss phone confiscations, which I think they are wrong. I believe they are wrong. That's considered stealing. But I'm going to mention a story regarding one of the South Point School's principal, the middle school principal. So her name is Sara Coleman. And in 2023, Alex Hughes, she had been on probation for a drugs offense. She was caught with a vape in school and arrested. Sarah stole her phone. She confiscated it. And she kept it in the school office all summer long because the school year was over by the time Alex Hughes was released from the juvenile detention center in Lawrence County. She tried to get in contact with Sarah and the school staff, but all you got was this voicemail. Sorry, I'm unavailable to take your call. It was very annoying. And Alex Hughes, we met on Snapchat, one of those apps, back when I did use Snapchat. We spoke, and she asked me to do her the favor to ask. I started looking up numbers. I believe I might have found Sarah's number, but she pretended that it was not her on a text. I then emailed Sarah and shared my phone number to her and told her to reach out for any questions. Sarah said she made multiple attempts to reach me, but those are all lies. She never called me. I even showed her a screenshot proving to her that she never called me. What a liar. And she said that I'm not associated with this student. She mentioned that to me and that the guardian of this student confirmed that, which it's true, but we chatted online and I was nice enough to try to help her. So, it was very irresponsible of her to do a cover up and to steal her property for a whole summer. She deserves to be locked up for that. It's really a criminal organization down there in that part of Ohio. So, I'm gonna share a email reply I sent to her. Sarah, where is the proof that you tried calling me? Worthington schools and other Ohio districts have done the same, training their people to lie. The name of one of those liars in a separate case was Neil Gupta. You kept a student's phone in your office for months without permission. You ignored messages attempting to get it back. In my opinion, you should face misdemeanors and be locked up. Theft is indeed a misdemeanor charge. I remember I tried reaching out to the South Point police station at one point and some offices in the city, but the systems in this town were very bad. I hate writing or speaking to people in this manner, but I find it necessary. Justice will be served eventually, I have a feeling. I don't take any manipulation and head-tech excuses from corrupt officials. I dream that you and all the other corrupt officials resign. I know you won't respond to this email. Love, Santiago. So basically, I remember the phone line at the South Point police station being broken. It had this high-pitched noise as if it was a fax machine. And I remember then complaining about that to the city hall. They said it's not their responsibility, and the woman talked to me rudely. It was a white, about elderly woman, maybe 60 or 70 years old or middle-aged. But this elderly woman talked back to me very rudely, and I told her, you should chill. You should speak kinder when someone who you do not know is calling on the phone. That is it. I just exposed so many in this long episode, over 30 minutes. About, at least. Please stay safe, take care of your mental health, your physical health, and have a good rest of your day.